The caption reads, "Why I filed for bankruptcy at 24 years old." Let's get into it.
So what's up, y'all? I get so many questions of why I filed Chapter 7 bankruptcy at 25, or really 24 years old. I'm now 25, and this is how Chapter 7 bankruptcy has benefited me since then. First and foremost, I had over, I would say, like $300,000 in debt. Like, I was
What?
seriously in debt, you guys, like literally. So
What? Oh my goodness. While he sits in his nice car with the twin sunroof. What in the world?
first and foremost, I had over, I would say, like $300,000 in debt. Like, I was seriously in debt, you guys, like literally. So when I got out the military, I had credit cards, Navy Federal. My credit was like in the 700 when I first joined the military. It was really good. So Navy Federal gave me 3 credit cards, 40K each. That's like $128,000 in credit card debt just with Navy Federal, y'all. Just with them. Okay, let's get into the car debt, because I had like really 4 cars that I owed money to. I had a 2022 Dodge Charger. I bought that for
For
my ex-husband. It was in my name. That car was like worth, I think, like 45,000 right there. I had me a BMW, a 2021 BMW. Oh my god, that was like 50,000 right there. And then I had a Dodge Ram. Y'all, I was just doing shit. I was literally just doing shit. And that car was worth almost like $65,000. Yeah, 65,000. And then when I was in the military, I did take out a loan with Omni Financial, because I was like, why not? I was just doing stuff, honestly. So I took out a loan with them too, and I owed them. It ruffled up to about $300,000 in debt, you guys. And I was like, I'm not gonna keep paying this. Like, I'm just not gonna keep paying it. And my credit was tanking and tanking and tanking. And mind you, I tried to handle all of that. My bad, I got a text. But I tried to manage all that debt by myself, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So I went to go file Chapter 7, and yeah, all of it was dismissed and gone and wiped out. And now my credit score is like 680 right now, because when I went to go file, I was like at a 454, I think. But now I'm like at a 680, and I'm almost close to 700. And you know, after a year, you can buy a house again. Mind you, I'm already a homeowner now, but you can buy another house, which I'm trying to do after a year. So yeah, mind you, if I wanted to file Chapter 7, I don't know when I could have bought a house again. I literally just got what's it called, mail from Amex. I guess I can get them too now. And I got me a new car. Mind you, I don't make no payments on my car, but it's 2026 and I bought it cash, because smart financial literacy over here. I'm not taking no more debt on at all. But it is very important to build your credit up when you do file, because as soon as I filed, I got a Michelin credit card for $200. I got like 4 Capital One credit cards, because I love Capital One down. I have the Venture, I have the Venture X, I have the Savoy, and I have the Quicksilver card as well too. And they have both helped my credit tremendously. And I only use like $10 each month on each card, but they helped my credit tremendously. And then I got my highest credit card limit was with the Military Star card. They always would deny me when I was in the military, but now that I'm out, they give me like a healthy limit of $15,000. Make sure you file bankruptcy.
let me tell you something, man. He still ain't learned his lesson. Because you know it's funny, when you file for these things, they make you have to take courses and they make you have to take these things to understand. How did you just file bankruptcy and then you were able to buy a very nice car seemingly with cash? Let me tell you something. Let's just go ahead and cut to the chase. This dude is clearly in Atlanta, right? And if you don't know, Atlanta is where the home of the scammers, right? He's a scammer, and I listen very intently. Before I even break down what he's doing, y'all, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second. Only takes a second. And it actually helps out more than you know. But see, people be telling on themselves, they don't even know it. Let me tell you something, man. He done ran a play. That's what it is. He done scammed. Because how did he get these type of limits? Those are business credit type of limits. He done did something, and because it's clear, he ran it up as much as he could before he went ahead and did that. And I wouldn't be surprised if he liquidated some of that. And that's how he has cash as well as other things. I'm about to really get into it. But understand, this dude is in the military. So that's where we have to first start. He's in the military. He don't have no business having no 4 cars off military pay, let alone spending 300 grand. You don't think he knows that? That's why I say this is clearly egregious. This is clearly intentional and this is clearly malicious. I wouldn't be surprised if him and his husband are in cahoots with it, because I learned a long time ago that apparently this is what Jewish people do. Oh man, hopefully I don't get canceled. But they're good with money. But I heard, because the bankruptcy stay on your credit for a couple years, whatever. So what they'll do is that one of them will file bankruptcy and then they'll live off the other person's credit. I wouldn't be surprised if he did that with his husband, because once he said husband, I say, okay, now there's another person in this. So they could still survive off the other partner's credit. But he done probably did some type of way in order to funnel this money and liquidate this money, a good chunk of it. I would bet you they did. And then they could even have business structures involved as well. And listen, nobody told him to come online and tell all this. But since you did, I'm taking a look at it. I'm evaluating it. And I don't want to see anybody hemmed up. But you done came on, you done divulged all this, and it's crazy. And it should have sounded outlandish. See, people can't just do dirt and just be quiet. That's the funny thing about it. People can't just do nefarious deeds and not come on TikTok and tell the world about it for us to really understand what's going on. And that's what happened. I would allegedly believe. Allegedly, that's what I think happened. But I don't have any proof. All I'm going off of is what he's saying and how he laid it out.
My bankruptcy just went through. I'm not in debt anymore. I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about this on TikTok, but honestly, I found out about this on TikTok, which is crazy. And it's really genuinely changed my life. So, maybe I'll share, and if it helps somebody, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You guys just know that I was broke. Anyway, it was discharged 2 days ago. I filed back in October, so around 6 months to get through the whole process. Happy to answer any questions anybody might have about this, thinking about filing. It was an incredible experience for me. I did go through an actual attorney. I didn't try and do it myself, because it's like, you got to go through the courts, girl, and I was not trying to mess that up and screw myself over even worse. So anyway, all of my debt has been discharged. I filed Chapter 7.
Notice she went through an attorney and she filed Chapter 7 too. Everybody, they find a way. People rarely do Chapter 13, because the difference between Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 is Chapter 7, everything gets wiped away with the exclusion of a lot of things that go through the government, right? So that could be, of course, student loans, child support, maybe even some like taxes owed, that type of thing. But everything else just about is fair game for Chapter 7, and that can just get wiped away. But with Chapter 13, it's basically you going on a payment plan to still pay off what you owe. The only time, a lot of times, that could be really feasible is like if you're about to get your house foreclosed on or something like that. And, now you done bought yourself time and you could freeze the process and save everything. But yeah, nobody ever does it. And see, she was wise to get an attorney, because timing is everything with these things. We can unpack it a little bit more, but let's just get back into hearing her story.
All of my debt except for my student loans, because student loans can't be erased. Sorry. So if you're trying to file bankruptcy because you have $100,000 in student loan debt, I'm sorry, it's not for you. I figured I would answer like the most general of questions right here, and then if anybody else has any other questions, just comment it and I'll respond. Duh. So how much debt did I have?
Yeah.
Around $35,000. That's not like an insane amount of debt. Like, I know people have hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, but it was overwhelming to me, and I was not able to keep up with it financially, and I was just continuing to get into more and more because I was trying to pay it off so rapidly, and it was just like stacking up, babe. So that's how much I started with. Why did I choose to file for?
That makes no sense. How was it? How are you trying to pay it off rapidly? And so that was resulting in it compounding more and more. Just say you just didn't have visibility and you didn't know what you was doing.
Bankruptcy instead of just paying off the debt, because it wasn't working. So I know I've seen a lot of people where they're like, oh my God, I'm going to lock in and we're going to pay this $100,000 off in a year, blah, 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 whatever. That applies to people who are, I'm assuming, have student loans and then suddenly get a job and they're making a lot of money. Or I don't know, like people who increase their income, but my income is not increasing. It's staying the same. And as much as I would love to make $200,000 a year, I just don't, babe. And so it wasn't working out. I wasn't able to pay it off. And then basically what would happen is I would pay a bunch of money off, and then obviously interest piles up and blah, blah, blah. And then if any edit.
Nah, don't blah, blah, blah. Let's call a spade, y'all. Who thinks she gets her frappuccino every morning? She gets her frappuccino every morning. Who thinks she shops at Whole Foods? I bet you if we really see, they be transparent with just the number. But if we was really able to really dive into her finances for real, oh, we will find so many opportunities untapped to be able to resolve this. But, she just wants to blah, blah past it. And now you got bankruptcy. You don't file bankruptcy.
I didn't have any extra money left over. So if anything happened, like I had something wrong with my car or something happened with the pet or something like that, it would go back on the credit card. So it was just kind of like, we're getting deeper and deeper in this hole and you still broke. And the last general question I will answer is how much I paid my attorney for being my attorney. And
Like
I paid them
couple thousand.
$2,000, I think, were their fees. But note that when you file and you have an attorney, at least mine told me that I immediately stopped paying the debt off. So all of the money that I was paying, which was several $100 to $1,000 plus a month, I wasn't paying to the credit cards anymore. So I was able to save that money
To pay her.
I was able to save the money from not paying off the debt after I.
Okay, we get it. She's a little airheaded, which is probably why she couldn't put together a plan to just pay off her debt. She probably needs to be handheld and guided to be able to just be responsible, like a lot of people today. So that's not just on her, but it's not that hard. We all knew addition, we all knew subtraction. And what it really just comes down to is impulse control and being able to sacrifice the things you want right now in order to be able to have a good future.
I filed bankruptcy this year. I have so many people ask me questions about filing bankruptcy, and here are a couple of the answers. I have already been discharged from my case. My case has been closed. I am good. A lot of people were asking me, what lawyer did I use? I used my AZ lawyers. They were great. They're fantastic. They helped me through every step of the way. I did a consultation with them. They were great. They gave me so much information. I asked so many questions, such as how much money do you have to make? Is there any way that I wouldn't be accepted? What bankruptcy do I best fit for? Will I be able to keep my car? That was my main question. And they were just super helpful, Filed in September. So it's been September, October, November, December, January, 4 months since I filed. So that also means 4 months of not paying over $65,000 in credit card debt. I'm still paying on my car. I pay my car every month because I wanted to.
Hold on.
Helpful, Filed in September. So it's been September, October, November, December, January, 4 months since I filed. So that also means 4 months of not paying over $65,000 in credit card debt. I'm still paying on my.
She owed dang near $70K in credit card. How are y'all running these credit card bills up like this? How are we doing this? I like business and finance and that type of thing. I'm interested in those type of things. So this is a cruise control video. I'm chilling. I'm kind of in and out. I'm passively listening. But then I hear these numbers and then I'm like, what? It's shocking me. It's bopping me out of just chilling. And then I have to address it. Goodness gracious. What's going on?
car. I pay my car every month because I wanted to keep my car. And in order to do that, you continue paying. That does not work with credit cards. If you're doing bankruptcy, at least in Arizona, since COVID, it's all cards or no cards. You used to be able to like pick and choose which cards. So I had like 20 something credit cards and I only had a balance on about half of those. And I couldn't keep the ones I didn't have a balance on, which kind of sucks, you know? It's been 4 months since I filed and it's been about a little over a month since my case has been discharged and closed. And my credit score before starting and doing bankruptcy was like 650. It actually might have been lower than that. I literally cannot remember. But it dropped all the way to 591 in October, a month after I filed, and then it skyrocketed back up. It went already all the way back up to 668, which is higher than it was before I even filed. And I was like, don't play with me. And now today I have 2 credit cards. I'm still paying on my car, but it doesn't go towards my credit at all because to Kia, my account is closed. I'm just making voluntary payments every month, which is my.
You know what's crazy? She said she couldn't keep her 20 credit cards or whatever anymore, and she was like, and that sucks. And then even now, it's like she's trying to get more credit cards. You would think somebody that went through this and had all that consumer debt like would never want to see a credit card again. Does it seem like people learn the lesson? Why don't we think they learn the lesson? Well, because typically when you just get to wipe things away like magic and you don't take responsibility for it, do people really learn the lesson? It really had no impact, right? You just wiped it away. I would say that that is actually probably going to negatively reinforce bad behavior, and it can even trickle into other areas of your life as well, right? Where you can be irresponsible and you just think somebody's just going to come save you. Now, again, you see nobody's doing it if it's going to be chapter 13, right? They want to be able to wipe everything away. But you may be wondering, like, how do you know whether or not you're going to be able to qualify for either chapter 13 or chapter 7? Because you have to qualify for that. They have a test. It's called the means test. And basically the means test is really just is really just trying to understand the feasibility that you could possibly pay off these debts or whatever the case. And like how feasibly possible is that based off your financial situation? And this is why I said like the timing means a lot, because like a lot of times you have to show like a timeline of you not being able to pay. And usually they only really go back based off like your financial history like 6 months, right? And so that's why people will try to time it, and they'll even get attorneys, right? An attorney might, and I'm not an attorney, I'm not a financial advisor, but you might have to wait. Like you may be wanting to file bankruptcy, but maybe you lost your job 4 months ago, so you don't hit that 6 months. So they would factor in the income you made from your job, you know what I'm saying, 4 months ago. But if you have 6 months showing that you've had no income, then all of a sudden now you qualify. And that could be the difference between you being able to cleanly wipe away 70K like her, or you actually like still being responsible for this, going on a payment plan, and still having bankruptcy on your record for 7 years, right? Because chapter 13 will stay on your record for 7 years. Chapter 7 will stay on your record for 10 years. But as you've seen, really, after you file it, really like 6 months to a year after, you can start really like kind of getting credit cards again. Like it's not that hard. Like they'll start lending to you again. And so this is what you see. And it's very convenient, but I just think it's amazing that people just, get to do that. And I mean, I think it's good to save people, but I think it's really supposed to be reserved. Like the most common way that people use bankruptcy, which is absolutely understandable, is like for their medical expenses or something like that. Because, shoot, the hospital is one hotel you do not want to be staying in for a weekend or a week, right? Because those bills run up real quick, and you could F around and look up and you could owe $200,000 for a medical emergency. So I understand medical emergencies and things like that. Like that could really just that could wipe you out financially, very quickly. Even just going to the emergency room and them putting a band-aid on you, you're gonna have to pay a couple $1,000s. But I digress. Let's get back into it. I'm sorry.
Hi, my name is Seraphine and I filed for bankruptcy last year. And do I regret it? Absolutely not.
It says I filed for bankruptcy with a $67K in credit card debt. Wow.
I'm 29 years old and I was $67,000 in credit card debt. I say $67,000 in credit card debt, but I don't really mean it. 7,000 of that was through the IRS, which I also got taken off my credit. If you didn't know, you can do that. Also, like 12,000 at the time was also my Kia that I still currently have and I'm still currently paying on. But technically on my credit report, it's considered paid off. September 13th, my credit score was a 638. On September 18th, my credit score went down to a 5. By October 5th, it was already 600. January 1st, it was already at a 660, and now it's at a 688. Do I regret it a little bit? Absolutely not. Like, why would I? And one of the funnier things is whenever I make these videos, I get people like in my comments and also sending me messages. And this is one of the ones that I had recently. I didn't screenshot it before. I blocked the dude. Anyway, this guy said something really mean. It was like, you're so disgusting, blah, blah. I don't even remember what the fuck he said. But it was honestly kind of extreme to the point where TikTok censored it. And I was like, show message anyway. I know, bitch. But I was, because it was low-key so mean that I reported him. And then now he's no longer able to message people that don't follow him, which is kind of iconic. Anyway, follow me for more financial advice. Hi, my name is...
So I'm choosing to go into 2026 with a bankruptcy. And it was a very hard decision for me to make, but it was expedited based off of the fact that Bank of America decided to sue me. The court date is January 8th, and I just decided that I no longer want to be wrapped up in debt and over my head in financial struggles. So I decided that I'm just going to go ahead and put in that bankruptcy and get a fresh start and rebuild myself financially. And that's what I did. So I submitted all of the documentation today and the deposit for me to start the process in starting my bankruptcy. I found an attorney locally to me that I really, really liked, and that was decent when it came to like payment plans for the bankruptcy and things like that. So I'm super excited, super anxious, nervous, and kind of scared that I'm making the wrong decision. But at this particular time in my life, I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to wrap it up in a bow and toss it away. I don't want the debt anymore. So
Great analogy. Great analogy. I think that's how they look at this now. You know, bankruptcy used to be something that was very rare, something that people were very apprehensive to resort to. People you definitely used to care about their reputation a lot more than they do now, right? They probably wouldn't have even came online and admitted that they did that. You know, there's even some jobs that will ask if you've ever filed a bankruptcy. So why people decide to come online and disclose that, I'm not really sure. But it's much more acceptable now based off the way things are now. And so what that's coming down to, as well as even knowledge and education about these things, probably weren't as accessible as it is now, right? And people can just come on and be like, it wasn't that bad, y'all. It was easy. It was sweet. Wiped away, tossed in a bow and tossed away. That was how she described it, right? So what could possibly be the implications that can come down because of that, right? Because all bankruptcy is the law. And as we see, laws can change just like that. So typically when things start to get abused, right, as well as discovered in mass, what typically will start to happen is it gets regulated. So this could be another good thing that was designed to be a good thing for people that ends up getting regulated, that ends up going away. So in the future, the people who were planning to be ethical with it and really did want to use it ethically may not be able to have that opportunity anymore, because now everybody's getting their hands on it. And I wouldn't even be surprised if people are spending the way that they're spending from preconception, because a lot of these debts are, you can see how astronomical they're becoming, right? The first guy said he bought 4 cars knowing he's in the military. I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't want a guy that thinks like that beside me with my life in his hands. I'm gonna be honest. Like, you did what? I don't think I can trust your judgment. If you can't trust I can't trust your judgment when you got time. So I definitely don't trust your judgment in a split second where it's life or death. Right? So ultimately, the point that I'm trying to make is that don't be surprised if it goes away, if it gets regulated. If now this great thing that people had that shouldn't have been abused goes away because everybody's like, oh, I'm gonna run up all these credit cards. I'm gonna run up all these credit cards, get all the things I want, because then I can just pay somebody $1,500 to $2,000 and get it tossed in a little bow and wiped away. And then you see, people always like to act like things aren't getting abused, just like with government assistance. And then they abused that, and then they were coming on TikTok just like this, talking about it, making light of it. And then once it goes away, then it's like, oh no. So imagine when that happens. And then people actually have to like pay back what they owe. No, I'm not gonna lie. When we're talking about consumer debt and some of these things, a lot of it is very predatory. But how can you learn? You know how to learn about the intricacies of bankruptcy, but you can't understand the predatory percentages that they're putting on you and how that can affect you? Inquiring minds want to know.
It's been exactly 30 days since I filed for bankruptcy. This is what has happened since. So, a couple of days after I filed, I received an email from my lawyer for the time and date of the meeting with the trustee. Once I did the meeting, which was super simple, he prepared me very well for it. It was simple questions. After I had the meeting, I checked my credit score, and my credit score went up almost 200 points. It was like 192, 193, something like that. And it's been sitting there. If I go deeper inside of my credit score or my credit report, it does show the Chapter 7 bankruptcy under the listed creditors that I had on my bankruptcy. So my bankruptcy is reflecting on my credit report. However, it is showing an increase of about 200 points. After about a week of me filing for bankruptcy, I got multiple letters in the mail, basically just offering me credit cards, offering me a loan for a car, I got so many offers in the mail. Obviously, I didn't take advantage of any of them. If you're ever scared that you're not going to be able to qualify for anything, almost immediately after filing for bankruptcy, you're going to get enormous amount of letters of creditors offering you more debt, which is so strange to me, but you will be able to move forward. Another thing is that if you're afraid that you're not going to be able to rent or find somewhere to rent if you're a renter, I also received multiple emails of people or different apartment complexes that reached out to me and basically was just like, hey, we see that you filed for bankruptcy. Just know that you have an apartment with us. So they do have an
Really?
application process still. I didn't do it because I went into this bankruptcy knowing that I was not going to be moving and that I didn't need a car as of yet.
Now that's interesting. It sounds like apartment complexes are actually using sales tactics, since I believe bankruptcy is public record, to go after people who have filed bankruptcy because they know that they would probably need somewhere to stay and as easy ways to fill up their properties. That's actually a pretty savvy move, or strategy, I should say. That's pretty smart. But at the same time, it's like, well, this is somebody with bankruptcy, so it's a good chance they may not pay you, but maybe they're in a landlord friendly state. It could be all type of things. But yeah, that's interesting, because I was gonna say that would be hard if you have to fill out an application, because when you do applications, you have no guarantees, and you're still gonna have to pay that fee. So it's like, is it worth it? But if they're reaching out to you because they know that you're gonna be a little bit more risk sensitive because of the fees and because of paying fees for no reason, then yeah, that's an interesting insight we just learned.
So I'm prepared to wait out the 2 to 3 years that I need to in order for me to be able to qualify for a mortgage, to be able to qualify for other apartments. So I'm not really going anywhere. So that's perfectly fine. But just to let you know, those things are being offered to you. So you're not trapped in anything. You quite literally can qualify for just about anything right outside of a bankruptcy. So just keep in mind that the standard is that you won't be able to qualify for a mortgage until 2 years. No matter what, there's no mortgage that's out there. You might be able to find someone, like maybe like a private lender, that would be willing to offer you for a mortgage.
I'm 26 years old and I have filed for bankruptcy. So I'm going to tell y'all how and why I filed for bankruptcy. So I got to take y'all back to last year for y'all to understand why I filed for bankruptcy. So I'm working for Apple, working at home, working for Apple, customer service, serving the Apple community, which I say sometimes, baby, y'all got on my goddamn nerves. Oh my damn, y'all made me not ever want to do customer service again. So that's why I chose not to go and get another work from home job, hustle hard to keep up with a $664 truck payment. So I chose to let the truck go back. I ran off to get me a car before it started hitting my credit that I'm missing my truck.
You know what's sad? Like a $650 car payment in today's day and age is actually not that expensive. That's what's so crazy.
Truck payment and mess up my credit. That's how I was able to get this that I'm sitting in. I found out that once you let that truck go back, once they get it back in their hands, they gonna sell it for whatever they can, subtract it from what I still owe on the truck, and come after me in the future with the remaining balance. Y'all ain't gonna get nothing but about $10 out that truck. Yeah, no. So to keep them from garnishing my wages and taking me to court in the future about a damn truck after I chose to file for bankruptcy, okay? Now, on how I filed bankruptcy, all I had to do was type in Google bankruptcy attorneys near me. I started calling them. They do free consultations. So through the free consultation, I figured out what chapter.
See, and this is another reason why people are just misguided. She chapter 7 too. This is what I mean. Like, did she remember, y'all? I said I'm passively listening, so I might have missed some details. But did she say she basically filed bankruptcy just for a truck? You see what I mean? Like, there for trivial reasons now, people just filing bankruptcy. It's getting abused heavily. It's crazy. You don't think when they keep seeing this uprising of bankruptcy filings that's not gonna like flag to them as like, okay, this is becoming a problem.
I needed to file. Now, side note, I could have filed a chapter 13 if I did not go get this car first. I could have just put my truck on chapter 13, could have just put my truck, my credit cards on there. I would have been making
She got credit
payments
cards
of
too.
like $200 for a few years, would have got rid of my credit cards, and the truck would have been mine. Since I got the car, chapter 13 did not work for me because they told me that I would have had to sell my car to pay for the truck, and that just wouldn't go right for me. So I filed chapter 7. I went with chapter 7. Chapter 7 included my.
So she do have credit cards as well. And that little fake explanation, ma'am, you wouldn't even file it if it was just chapter 13. Stop capping.
$15,000 in credit card debt. I had like 8 damn credit cards. I had $1,000 in negative debt with my bank. I had $160 of insurance because I ain't paid them. And my truck was worth, how much I still had on it was around $26,000. That's a lot of damn money that I ain't got. Okay, so figured out I need to file chapter 7. Now it's like, okay, who got the cheapest price? Who got the cheapest price? So the highest I heard was almost $2,000. The lowest is the one that I went with. He charged me a flat fee of $1,000, which was an attorney fee. So I believe that went to him, of course. I had a credit report. They had to pull my credit, which was $50. I had to take credit counseling course. I had to take 2 of them, $20 a piece, so $40. I had to pay court fee, $338, a total of $1,428 that I had to pay to file for bankruptcy. I thought, filing for bankruptcy is because clearly I ain't got no damn money. But you gotta have money to goddamn go through an attorney. Now, I seen people in the comments saying you could do it free through Upsolve. I did not. Each is its own. You tried. If not, baby, go to an attorney. Now, I paid $1,428 to get rid of all that other goddamn debt that I had. Baby, please take it. Okay, cool. So, take y'all back a little bit. Why I prolonged it so long is because the whole reason why I filed for bankruptcy was because of my truck. The main thing I did in my truck, I really love my truck. And I smoke in my truck, okay? I did not want to smoke in my car. So, I prolonged it.
I reached out to attorneys back in October, okay? I didn't make a truck payment since August. October, they was like, look, if you finna file for bankruptcy, don't pay nothing. Don't pay your credit card payments, nothing. So in the midst of that, I ain't paid not shit, okay? I did not file in October, so bill collectors get to calling me. That shit gets annoying. I had like 8 credit cards. Like, that's at least 8 people calling me twice a fucking day. It drove me crazy. So I'm like,
Yeah, and once you file for bankruptcy, the debt collectors have to stop immediately. Listen, this is kind of small change. I mean, it sounds like she filed it for 30 grand, all in all, just about, allegedly. I don't know if that was smart, wise. She said she worked at Apple. And I also thought she was going to say the timing was, she had to time it because she was working at Apple. So she had that history of working. So then she had to stop and not make any income for a while. I don't know. Maybe she would have got into that. We only had like maybe another 2 minutes or so, but I think we get the gist. But yeah, we'll leave it there for the day. If you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second and actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype the video, hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically, when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent the same way it pushes the larger content creators. So we actually get more points when you hype us as smaller content creators because hype was designed for smaller content creators. And also Patreon's link below if you want to see self-improvement content as well. But until then, I'll catch you in the next video.